Sarah clutched little Ethan against her chest as the rain turned her pleas into desperate whispers. The boy shivered, clinging to his soaked teddy bear. The man who'd just stepped out of the restaurant paused. Expensive suit watch worth more than 3 months of her old salary. "Sir, my son is sick. I just need somewhere." The man's voice sounded tired. Sarah swallowed hard. The taste of humiliation was worse than hunger. "I don't want money. I need a place to sleep tonight. A shelter, a bench, under cover, anything." The man's eyes shifted from her to Ethan. The boy coughed. A wet sound that sent liquid panic through Sarah's stomach. "Please." Her voice broke. "Please." Ryan Novak had passed dozens of people begging for help that night. New York City was full of sad stories. He had his own, but something in this woman's gaze nailed him to the sidewalk. It wasn't the desperation. It was the way she held the child like her body was a shield against the entire world, just like his mother had held him 23 years ago. "Get in the car." Sarah blinked. Raindrops on her lashes made the world blurry. "What?" "Get in the car." "Sarah!" He pointed to the black Mercedes parked a few feet away. "I'll take you to a shelter." Sarah's hands shook. It could be a trap. He could be a predator, anything. Ethan coughed again, his little body burning even in the cold rain. "Okay." Sarah followed the man to the car. Each step was a surrender. The interior smelled of leather and wealth. Sarah stained the seat with dirty water. The man didn't care. "What's your son's name, Ethan?" Sarah kissed the boy's forehead. "He's 4 years old. He's sick. Fever since yesterday." "No, I can't afford a doctor." Ryan started the engine. His hands on the wheel were steady, no rings. Sarah noticed that. Married men were predictable. Rich single men were dangerous. "How long have you been on the street?" 2 days. A lie. It had been 4, but 2 sounded less pathetic. The car moved through streets Sarah no longer recognized, too clean, too lit. "This isn't the way to any shelter." No, Ryan didn't look at her. "The shelters are full. I checked an hour ago." Sarah's heart raced. She reached for the door handle. "Then, where are you taking me?" "To my place." "My doctor will check your son." "No, your son has a high fever. It could be pneumonia. Would you rather he die because of your pride?" The words hit like fists. Sarah closed her eyes. Ethan whimpered against her neck. "What do you want in return?" Ryan finally looked at her. His eyes were dark, impossible to read. "Nothing. Everyone wants something. Then I want to sleep tonight without wondering if a child died because I didn't help." The car stopped in front of a building that touched the clouds. A doorman in uniform opened the door. His expression changed when he saw soaked, dirty Sarah. "Mr. Novak, call Dr. Ramirez. Tell him it's urgent." The elevator rose in silence. Sarah counted the floors. 30, 32, 35. The doors opened straight into a penthouse. Floor-to-ceiling windows showed the city like a map of lights. Sarah had cleaned houses like this, never thought she'd enter one as a guest or whatever she was. "The bathroom is there. Clean towels. Change your son's clothes." Ryan disappeared into another room. Sarah stood dripping on Italian marble. Ethan opened his fever-glazed eyes. "Mommy, where are we?" "Somewhere safe, my love. Just for tonight." A lie. But the lie they both needed. The bathroom was bigger than her old room. Sarah undressed Ethan with clumsy hands, dried his hot little body. The teddy bear dripped on the floor. When they came out, Ryan had laid dry clothes on the couch, a huge t-shirt and pajama pants for her. For Ethan, nothing. A 4-year-old wouldn't fit his clothes. "The doctor will be here in 20 minutes. "Thanks." The word came out small. "Are you hungry?" Sarah nodded before pride could stop her. "Sit. I'll make something." She watched him move awkwardly in the kitchen. A man used to others cooking for him. He pulled out bread, ham, cheese, a simple sandwich. Sarah ate like a starving animal. Ethan only drank water, his little eyes closing between sips. The buzzer rang. An older man with a black bag entered without surprise, as if midnight emergencies in penthouses were normal. Maybe they were in this world. "Dr. Ramirez, thanks for coming." "Ryan." The doctor looked at Sarah and Ethan with professional warmth. "Let's see what's going on here." The doctor's hands were gentle. Cold stethoscope on Ethan's small chest. Thermometer under the tongue, 102 degrees. Respiratory infection. Needs antibiotics and rest. 3 days minimum. Sarah felt the floor shift under her feet. I can't pay for this. It's covered. Ryan spoke from the doorway. I can't accept that. Would you rather your son get worse? Sarah hated this man, hated his money, hated his 35th floor, hated how every word of his was right and she had no argument. I'll leave in 3 days, as you wish. The doctor left medicines with detailed instructions. He departed with the same discretion he'd arrived. Ryan showed Sarah a small room, a simple bed, partial view window. The guest room has its own bath, of course. Even in his generosity there was hierarchy. Sarah laid Ethan on the bed. The boy fell asleep immediately, his breathing uneven but calmer. Ryan lingered in the doorway, a tall shadow against the hall light. What's your name? Sarah. Sarah, he repeated, testing it. Rest. We'll talk tomorrow. He left before she could ask what they needed to talk about. Sarah lay beside Ethan, still in the borrowed t-shirt that smelled of expensive detergent and cologne. She'd crossed a line tonight. She didn't know if toward salvation or something worse. Ethan breathed against her neck, alive, warm, safe. For now, that was enough. She closed her eyes and let exhaustion drag her under, unaware the man across the penthouse couldn't sleep either, wondering what the hell he'd just done. Sarah woke before the sun. Ethan's body burned against hers like live coal. They had to leave. Now. She rose carefully. Found her dirty, damp jeans from yesterday. They still stank of rain and defeat. Where are you going? Ryan's voice froze her at the door. He was in the hallway, coffee mug in hand, fully dressed as if he'd been waiting. We're leaving. Thanks for everything. Your son has a 104-degree fever. Lie. I checked. Ethan whimpered a small broken sound that twisted Sarah's gut. Ryan entered the room, placed his hand on the boy's forehead. Sarah wanted to push him away, but he was right. Ethan burned worse than last night. I already called Dr. Ramirez. He's on his way. You can't keep paying for us. Why not? Because no one does that. No one gives without expecting something back. Ryan looked at her with something that might have been weariness or compassion. Sarah hated both. Get your son ready. The doctor will be here in 10 minutes. He left before she could argue. Sarah cursed under her breath, words Ethan shouldn't hear. Dr. Ramirez arrived with the son, checked Ethan with the same gentleness as before, but his furrowed brow said more than words. The infection's progressing, needs IV antibiotics, at least 2 days of treatment. How much Sarah asked, though she knew it didn't matter. She had nothing. $4,000 for the meds plus my fees. 6 months of her old life. Now impossible. I'll handle it. Ryan spoke from the door. No, your son could develop pneumonia. Do you understand what that means? Sarah understood. Understood she was trapped. Understood every second sunk her deeper in debt to this stranger. What do you want? Her voice came out hard. We'll talk after the doctor finishes. The doctor administered the first dose. Ethan cried a weak cry that shattered something inside Sarah. She held him, sang softly the song her grandma sang when she was a child. When the doctor left, Ethan finally slept. Sarah left the room on legs that barely held her. Ryan was in the kitchen making more coffee, offered her a mug. She refused. Talk. I need an assistant. Sarah blinked. Of all the things she expected to hear, that wasn't on the list. What my assistant quit 2 weeks ago. I'm buried in work. I need someone organized, smart, reliable. I'm an accountant, not a secretary. Even better, I need someone who gets numbers. Sarah crossed her arms. Her whole body screamed trap. Why me? Because you need a job, and I need help. And because last night when your son was sick, you didn't think of yourself for a second. That kind of dedication is hard to find. You don't know me. I know enough. Like what Ryan leaned against the kitchen counter. For the first time, Sarah saw real fatigue in his eyes. I know you studied at NYU on a full scholarship. Graduated with honors. Worked as an accountant at Solaris Group until 3 months ago. Sarah's blood turned to ice. You investigated me. 1 call, 2 minutes. I wanted to know if you were a scammer, and I found out you were fired after rejecting your boss that he made up embezzlement charges that you spent your savings on lawyers trying to clear your name. Sarah felt hot tears behind her eyes, refused to shed them. I also found out you paid every cent of your student loan never laid on rent until you lost your job, that Ethan's father isn't on the birth certificate. Enough. I need someone like that, someone who doesn't quit. I already quit. I was begging in the rain, remember. For your son, not yourself. The words floated between them like uncomfortable truth. Ryan placed a business card on the counter. Thick paper gold letters. Novak Hotels Group CEO. Salary $3,500 a month. Health insurance for you and your son. You can stay here until you find an apartment. Sarah stared at the card like it was a snake. And when you decide you don't need me anymore, when you tire of your charity project? Something dark crossed Ryan's face. You're not charity. You're an investment. And if it doesn't work, you'll have 3 months of honest job references. Better than nothing. It was true. Cruel and true. I want a written contract, of course, and this is strictly professional, nothing more. Understood? And I'll pay for my food from my salary. I don't want to live on handouts. Ryan almost smiled. Almost? Anything else? If you try anything at all, I grab my son and leave and report you. Fair. Sarah extended her hand. It shook just a little. 2-month trial. If I'm no good, you tell me and I go no drama. Ryan shook her hand. It was warm, firm, and Sarah hated how it made her feel less alone. Deal? He released her and Sarah felt the ghost of his touch on her palm. Why are you doing this? The question slipped out before she could stop it. Ryan looked out the window at the city waking 35 floors below. When I was 12, my mother and I lived in the Bronx, a room without hot water. She worked 3 jobs. Sarah didn't breathe. One night I got sick. High fever, like your son. My mother carried me 4 miles to the public hospital because we had no money for a cab. Ryan closed his eyes. A doctor treated us for free. Gave us meds from his own pocket. I never knew his name. He turned to Sarah. I can't repay that doctor, but I can do this. Sarah felt something crack in her chest, something hard she'd been holding since her boss put his hand on her thigh, and she knew her life would change. I'm not your redemption. You're my assistant and a mother who needs a chance, and if you screw it up, then you screw it up and we find a solution. Simple as if life could be simple. Sarah thought of Ethan sleeping in the back room, his soaked teddy drying on the radiator, 3 months of job hunting with ruined references and door after door slammed. Okay, I accept the job. Ryan nodded, his face carefully neutral. You start when your son's better. Doctor says 3 days. I start tomorrow. I can work from here while I care for him. Sarah, if I'm doing this, I'm doing it right. Tomorrow. This time, Ryan did smile. Small, but real. I'm going to need stronger coffee. Sarah felt something strange in her stomach, something that wasn't fear or hunger, hope dangerous and fragile as glass. Ryan, he paused at the kitchen door. Thanks. Don't thank me yet. I'm a terrible boss, worse than begging in the rain. Probably equal. Sarah laughed, a rusty sound that hadn't left her throat in months. Ryan looked at her like that sound was worth more than all the money in his bank account. Then he left, leaving her alone in a kitchen that cost more than her college education. Sarah touched the business card. The gold letters gleamed in the morning light. Maybe this was a mistake. Maybe this man was danger wrapped in kindness, but Ethan slept safe and warm, and that for now was enough to risk it. Sarah dropped the folder on Ryan's desk. It was 11 at night, 2 weeks since she'd accepted the job. Ryan looked up from his laptop, dark circles under his eyes. And your competitor's contract with the same supplier has a 5% penalty. You're paying triple to terminate early. My lawyers reviewed that contract. Your lawyers are expensive and distracted. Sarah pointed to the hidden paragraph on page 17. Look here, Ryan read. His jaw tightened. This is costing us $2 million. $2.4 million? I did the math. When did you find this 3 hours ago? I was reviewing all your active contracts. I hired you 14 days ago, and in 14 days you've found my filing system is a mess and no one reads the fine print. Ryan leaned back in his chair. Something like admiration crossed his face. What else did you find? Sarah pulled out her tablet. She'd made a list. Your linen supplier is charging 20% above market. Your maintenance contract has auto-renewal you don't need, and someone in accounting is rounding numbers suspiciously. Fraud or incompetence? I need full access to confirm. Ryan studied her. Sarah held his gaze, spine straight, unapologetic for being good at her job. You have full access. No consulting my legal team first. You just saved me $2 million. My legal team can wait. Sarah nodded warm satisfaction in her chest. I need coffee. We're out. How I bought 3 bags this week? Ryan pointed toward the living room. Sarah followed his finger. Ethan slept on the couch surrounded by crayons and paper. His teddy rested on his chest. Around him, bright drawings covered every surface. He used the ground coffee for his art project. Sarah closed her eyes. I'm sorry. I'll pay you back. Sarah breathed. He ruined your designer couch with... It's a couch. He's a kid. Kids are more important than furniture. The simple words disarmed something in Sarah. She clenched her hands until her nails marked her palms. Not everyone thinks that. Then, not everyone matters. Ryan went to the kitchen, returned with 2 mugs of tea. Not coffee, but it'll do. Sarah took the mug. Their fingers brushed a small electricity both ignored. Tomorrow, I have a video call with investors from L.A. 7 a.m. It's in your calendar. I prepared a summary of key points. When do you sleep? When Ethan sleeps. That's not an answer. Sarah sipped her tea, burned her tongue. I sleep enough. Lie. She slept 4 hours. Spent the rest organizing Ryan's chaotic life, caring for Ethan, and wondering how she'd ended up here. Sarah. The way he said her name twisted something under her ribs. Yes. You're good at this. Very good. It's my job. It's more than a job. You have instinct. Sarah didn't know what to say. Compliments were strange currency, after 3 months of rejection. Ryan's phone rang. He spoke fluent Spanish with someone in Miami solving a last-minute hotel crisis. Sarah listened, took mental notes. When he hung up, she'd already opened that project's file. Your manager in Miami didn't order occupancy permits on time. The opening is in 3 weeks. I know. I know someone at the embassy there. Could make calls. Ryan looked at her like she'd solved an impossible equation. You have contacts in Miami, studied a semester there. Exchange scholarship. Not in your file. Because my ex-boss erased it when he destroyed me, but the contacts are still in my phone. Make the calls. Sarah nodded. Looked at Ethan asleep small and perfect under the penthouse's soft lights. I should put him to bed. Let him be. He looks comfortable. Your couch, Sarah? The couch will survive. She sat, exhaustion finally winning. Ryan sat at the other end of the couch, careful not to wake Ethan between them. Comfortable silence filled the space. Sarah couldn't remember the last time silence didn't feel like a threat. Why do you do this? The words came soft. Do what? Let my son destroy your home. Bring dinner every night. Act like we're normal. Ryan looked at Ethan. His expression softened in ways Sarah didn't know were possible. When I was his age, my mother worked all day. I spent hours alone. Drew on walls because we had no paper. Sarah waited. One day the landlord came, saw my drawings, yelled at my mother, threatened eviction. What happened? My mother worked double shifts for 3 months to pay damages. I never drew again. The sadness in his voice was ancient, the kind that never fully heals. Ethan draws because he can, because he's a kid, and kids should do kid things. I'm not taking that from him. Sarah felt tears threatening, blinked them away. Mommy. Ethan woke sleepy eyes seeking her. I'm here, my love. I'm thirsty. Sarah rose, but Ryan was already moving. I'll get it. He returned with a glass of water. Ethan drank, eyes barely open. Ryan, the nickname came natural, unrehearsed. Ryan froze. Yes, tell me a story. Sarah opened her mouth to say no. It was late. Mr. Novak had important things. I'd love to. Ryan lifted Ethan awkwardly. The boy curled against his chest like he always belonged there. Sarah followed to the room. Heart doing strange things. Ryan sat on the bed. Ethan, in his lap, took the boy's favorite dinosaur book. Once there was a dinosaur who couldn't roar. His voice was deep comforting. Ethan relaxed his little hand, grabbing Ryan's shirt. Sarah stayed in the doorway watching this impossible scene. Rich man and poor boy connected by something simpler than money. Ethan fell asleep before the end. Ryan finished the story anyway, whispering words the boy didn't hear, but maybe felt. Tucked him in with care Sarah didn't expect from hands used to handling millions. They left together, closing the door softly. In the hallway under dim light, they were too close. Sarah smelled his cologne. Ryan saw freckles she didn't know she had. Thanks. His voice came hoarse. It was just a story. It's more than that. Ryan didn't move. Not closer, not farther. Sarah, his phone buzzed. Alarm for tomorrow's call. Reminder to prep. The moment shattered. I should sleep. Yes, me too. Neither moved. Good night, Ryan. Good night. Sarah walked to her room, felt his eyes on her back the whole way. Closed her door and leaned against it, heart pounding like she'd run miles. This was dangerous. This was a mistake. But when she closed her eyes, she saw Ryan reading to Ethan and couldn't regret anything. Sarah Solis, great to hear your voice. Javier Ruiz's voice on the phone made bile rise in Sarah's throat. A month working for Ryan and her past called. What do you want direct as always? I liked that about you. Sarah gripped the phone until her knuckles whitened. I have 30 seconds. Talk, I made a mistake. The accusations were exaggerated. I want to offer your job back. No, Sarah, be reasonable. Good salary. Your office back. Your lawyer said I can sue for wrongful termination. Silence. Then, nervous laugh. Let's be adults. We both made mistakes. I made none. You put your hand on my leg and I said no. No mistake there. Sarah, I'm not suing you. Not because you don't deserve it, but because you're not part of my life anymore. She hung up. Her hands shook. Well done. Sarah turned. Ryan was at her makeshift office door, 2 coffee mugs in hand. You heard? Enough. He gave her a mug. You okay? Perfect. Liar. Sarah drank her coffee. Ryan knew her too well for a month. I feel good. For the first time in months, I said no to someone who hurt me and it cost me nothing. It cost you 3 months of your life, but it brought me here. The words hung between them, heavy with meaning neither wanted to examine. Tonight is the Hotel Association Gala. I need you to come. Sarah frowned. For what important investors there? I need you to take notes, memorize faces, remind me, names. I'm your assistant, not your date. Exactly. That's why I need you as my assistant. Something in his tone made Sarah suspicious. What aren't you telling me? My mother will be there, and she has ideas about my personal life. I don't share. Sarah understood. You want me as a human shield, I want you to do your job. If that incidentally frustrates my mother's plans, it's a bonus. Sarah almost smiled. What do I wear? Something professional. Elegant. Ryan, my fanciest clothes are 3 years old with baby food stains. He pulled out his phone, typed quickly. My personal shopper will come in 2 hours. Pick what you want. I don't need. It's for work. Company pays. I'm not your makeover project. You're my assistant at an important event. You need to look the part. There was logic she couldn't argue. She hated when he was right. The shopper arrived with suitcases of options. Sarah chose a black dress, simple, elegant, not flashy. When she looked in the mirror that night, she barely recognized herself. The woman begging in the rain was gone. In her place, a capable professional. Ethan whistled from his bed. Mommy looks pretty. Yes, very pretty, like a princess. Sarah kissed his head. The babysitter Ryan hired was there, smiling and reliable. Call me if you need me. I'll be fine, Mommy. Go to work. 4 years old and so mature. Sarah didn't know if to feel proud or sad. Ryan waited in the living room. Perfect tuck's hair slicked back. Sarah forgot to breathe for a second. Ready. Ready. The event was in a 5-star hotel that made Ryan's penthouse seem modest. Crystal chandeliers, marble floors, people smelling of old money. Sarah felt like an imposter, kept her chin high anyway. Ryan, an older woman, approached, elegant in a blue gown, jewels worth more than Sarah's college education. She had Ryan's eyes but a harder mouth. Mom, you look good, son. Sophia will be here soon. I didn't invite Sophia. I did. It's important to keep up appearances. Sarah noticed Ryan tense his jaw clench. Patricia finally looked at Sarah, her expression politely curious. And she is Sarah Solis, my assistant. Ah. One word containing universes of judgment. How modern Ryan. Bringing staff to social events. She's working. Of course. Patricia left with a smile that didn't touch her eyes. Sarah felt something cold slide down her spine. Your mother hates me. My mother hates anything she can't control. That includes me. That includes everything in my life. Sofia Ortega entered like the world belonged to her. Red dress screaming money. Perfect blonde hair, shark smile. Went straight to Ryan. Kissed his cheek possessively. "Darling, you're late. We're not a couple, Sofia. Technical details are so boring." Her eyes fell on Sarah. Instant dismissive assessment. "Who's your friend?" "My assistant, Sarah." "Ah, same tone as Patricia. Need me to fetch anything, water a napkin?" Sarah felt heat rise in her neck. Kept her voice steady. "No thanks. How polite." Ryan always so generous with his staff. Sarah gripped her tablet until it nearly broke. Ryan placed his hand on her lower back, a small gesture of support. The evening turned into an elegant nightmare. Sarah took notes while Sofia clung to Ryan like a parasite. Overheard talks of mergers, acquisitions, arranged marriages disguised as romance. "It's official then." An older man slapped Ryan's back. "You and Sofia, your mother is thrilled. Nothing's official. Modest as always. We all know it's a matter of time." Sarah saw Ryan stiffen, how he didn't correct the man, how he let the lie grow. Sofia appeared with 2 wine glasses, handed one to Sarah with a sweet smile. "You look tense. Drink, it'll help." Sarah took the glass politely. "Thanks." Sofia turned, tripped. Red wine spilled over Sarah's black dress, staining it like blood. Oh no, how clumsy of me. The room went silent. Everyone stared. Sarah felt their eyes like needles. "Excuse me." Sofia laughed. "These heels are so tricky. I hope the dress wasn't expensive." "It wasn't. What a relief. Must be hard on an assistant's salary." Sarah looked at Ryan, waited for him to say something. Anything. He opened his mouth. His eyes flicked from her to his mother to Sofia and said nothing. The silence was worse than the wine. Sarah smiled cold and professional. "Excuse me, I'll clean up." Walked to the bathroom head high. Didn't run, didn't cry. In the bathroom, wiped the wine with steady hands. Looked in the mirror. This was her place in Ryan's world. Not assistant, not equal, servant. Finished cleaning, returned to the room, took her last notes, did her job with professional perfection. When the evening ended, Ryan drove her home in thick silence. Sarah, no, let me explain. Nothing to explain. I understood perfectly. My mother was there, the investors, and I didn't matter enough to defend from them. It's not like that. Then what is it? Ryan had no answer. Sarah got out when they arrived. Didn't wait for him to open her door. "Tomorrow, I'll pack our things." "Sarah, wait. Thanks for the opportunity." It was generous while it lasted. Slammed the penthouse door before he could follow. In her room, Ethan slept deeply. Sarah sat on the bed's edge, wine-stained dress makeup intact, heart shattered in pieces she didn't know could break. She'd been foolish. Thought maybe, just maybe, she was more than a temp employee. Now she knew the truth. And truth always hurt more than lies. Sarah stuffed Ethan's clothes into the same backpack they'd arrived with a month ago. They'd accumulated little. Easy to pack, easy to leave. "What are you doing?" Ryan was at the room door, still in tux, tie loose. "Leaving. You can't leave at 2 a.m. Watch me." Sarah zipped the backpack with unnecessary force. Ethan stirred in sleep, but didn't wake. "Sarah, please, please, what?" "Please stay and accept being humiliated every time your world and I cross." It wasn't like that. Then what was it? Sarah turned. Fury finally overflowing. "That woman dumped wine on me like I was trash and you said nothing. My mother was there. Investors. There'll always be someone there. Always an excuse to treat me as less." Ryan ran hands through his hair. Frustration in every line. "It's complicated." "No, it isn't. Either you respect me or you don't. No complication there." "Of course there is. You don't understand how that world works." Sarah laughed. Bitter sound. "You're right. I don't understand a world where money matters more than dignity. It's not about money. It's exactly about money and power and appearances." Sarah crossed her arms. "And I have none of those." Sarah Ryan stepped toward her. "Give me time. I can fix it." "No." The word came like a hammer. "I'm not waiting for you to decide if I'm worth defending from your mom. That's not fair. You know what? It's not fair my son thinks this is normal, that seeing his mother treated like a servant is something to accept." Ethan didn't see. Ethan sees everything. Kids always do. Sarah felt tears burning. blinked them back. And I'm not teaching him to settle for crumbs of respect. Ryan went silent. No answer because she was right. Tomorrow, I'll look for an apartment. I'll leave as soon as I find something. And the job, I quit. Sarah, I'm not leaving because you're a bad boss. I'm leaving because I deserve to work where I don't wonder if the next Sophia will dump wine or worse. Sarah lifted the backpack. Ryan didn't move from the door. Move. Stay. 1 more week. Let me fix it. Nothing to fix. This is your world. I don't belong. At what price? Sarah looked him in the eyes. I'm not asking you to defend me out of love. I'm saying I don't even deserve basic respect in your world. That says it all. The words hung like a sentence. Ryan finally stepped aside. Sarah passed him, shoulder brushing his arm. Tucked Ethan into his bed without waking him. Sat in the dark listening to Ryan pace the penthouse. His steps stopped at her door 3 times. Never knocked. Sunrise found Sarah awake. Ethan rose, eyes confused. Mommy, why'd you pack? We're leaving, my love. Why, I like it here. Uncle Ryan taught me chess. Sarah closed her eyes against the pain in her son's voice. Sometimes things don't work out, baby. Did I do something wrong? No, never. You're perfect, Ethan cried silently, tears that broke what was left of Sarah's heart. Ryan wasn't there when they left, probably at the office escaping awkward talks. Sarah called a cab, loaded her backpack and son, and left the penthouse as she'd arrived with nothing but wounded pride and fragile hope. The next 3 days were a blur of phone calls and desperate searches. Got a room in a cheap motel, spending her first salary on temporary roof. On day 4, her phone rang. Sarah Solis. Yes, this is Gabriela Torres from Fernandez Consulting in Chicago. Your professor, Dr. Mendoza, recommended you highly. Sarah straightened. Yes, we need a senior accountant, competitive salary, full benefits. Interested in an interview, very. The interview was video call. Sarah answered every question with precision honed, working for Ryan. When can you start? 2 weeks. Perfect, sending the formal offer this afternoon. Sarah hung up, feeling relief and sadness in equal parts. Chicago, new city, new life, far from the man who hadn't fought for her. Meanwhile, Ryan stormed into Sophia's office. What the hell did you do? Sophia looked up from her computer, elegant boredom on her face. You'll have to be more specific. The wine, Sarah, all of it. Ah, that. Sophia leaned back. I just put things in perspective, humiliating her, publicly showing her place. There's a difference. Ryan felt fury so pure it almost hurt physically. There was never an engagement, was there? You and my mother made it up. Engagement is a strong word. We prefer mutually beneficial expectation. I speak English, Sophia. She sighed, dropping the act. Your family controls hotels in the Northeast. Mine, the West Coast. A merger makes sense. Marriage just formalizes the obvious. I don't love you. So what love is for people without business vision. You're crazy. I'm practical. And you were on board until that woman showed up. Sarah has a name. Sarah is a distraction, and now she's gone. We can proceed with real plans. Ryan looked at this woman he'd known his whole life. Beautiful, smart, completely empty. There won't be plans, no merger, nothing. Your mother? My mother can learn to live with disappointment. He left before Sophia could respond. His mother waited in his office. Perfect posture, visible disapproval. Sophia called. I bet she did. Ryan, you have responsibilities. I have a life, Mom. There's a difference. Don't be dramatic. Dramatic. You invented an engagement without asking me. Patricia paled. It was a suggestion. People assumed. Because you wanted them to. I want what's best for you or what's best for your image. Ryan felt years of frustration bubble. You never told me why you married my father. Patricia blinked, surprised by the topic change. What we lived in poverty. He appeared when I was 12. Acknowledged us married, you died 6 months later. Why? Because he loved me. Did you love him? Patricia stayed silent a long time. I respected him. He gave me a name. Gave you a future. That was enough. Was it happy? Happiness is a luxury, Ryan. No, love is basic, and I've spent 23 years pretending I belong to a world that bought my entry. Ryan sat heavily. With Sarah and Ethan, I didn't have to pretend. I finally belonged to something real. Patricia looked at him like seeing him for the first time. Do you love her? Yes. It's complicated. You married a dying man to give me a future. Don't talk to me about complicated. Patricia laughed a surprised sound. You're right. She sat beside him. I was Sarah once, son a single mom, no options, taking what I could. The difference is, I got lucky. Your father was good, and maybe it's time you stop punishing everyone because you weren't there when I grew up poor. The words slapped him. I don't do that. You do. You hide behind work and obligations because if you stop, you have to feel. Mom, go, get her, before it's too late. Ryan reached the motel where Sarah had checked in. Empty room. The desk clerk said she'd left that morning. Where? No forwarding address, sir. Ryan stood in the empty motel room smelling the ghost of her perfume. Too late. Always too late. 6 weeks later, Ryan stared at Ethan's drawing for the 100th time. 3 figures in crayons, a tall woman, taller man, small boy between them, all smiling, a park with green trees behind. Family written above in crooked letters. His new assistant, efficient professional, had received the envelope. Sarah sent it without a note. Message clearer than 1,000 words. Mr. Novak, the Monterey investors on line 2, Ray. Ryan couldn't even remember this assistant's name. She was good, punctual, correct in everything, and every day he hated her more for not being Sarah. Cancel. But, sir, cancel the whole day. The assistant left with pursed lips, probably job hunting. Ryan didn't blame her. His phone buzzed. His mother calling for the 4th time this week. Ignored it. The penthouse felt like a mausoleum. Sarah had left everything spotless. No trace sheet, and Ethan lived there except a blue crayon under the couch. Ryan found it last week. Now it lived on his desk, a reminder of what he'd lost to cowardice. Idiot, he told himself, not for the first time. His phone rang again. This time he answered. What, Mom? Good morning to you too. Lunch. No appetite. Ryan, you've been punishing yourself for 6 weeks. Enough. I'm just starting. Then let me help you end it. I found her address. Ryan's heart stopped. What, Sarah's in Chicago? I have the exact address. How, I have contacts. Are you going or staying here dramatizing? Ryan was already grabbing keys. Send it. I did, and Ryan. Yes, don't let her go twice. The line went dead. In Chicago, Sarah reviewed numbers that didn't matter for a client she didn't know. The job was good, fair salary, decent boss-kind coworkers, all perfectly adequate and completely empty. Sarah. Coming to happy hour, Claudia, her cubicle mate, smiled hopefully. Can't. Have to pick up Ethan. Always Ethan. You need a social life. Sarah smiled weakly. Ethan is my social life. Claudia left, shaking her head. Sarah packed up, grateful to escape. The apartment she'd rented was small but clean. 2 bedrooms, window, overlooking a noisy street, nothing like the penthouse, everything they needed. Ethan was with the neighbor who watched him after school. He ran when Sarah knocked. Mommy. Hi, my love, how was your day? Good, but his eyes were sad. Sarah paid the neighbor and took Ethan home. He sat on the couch, pulled out crayons. What are you drawing? Don't know. Started drawing anyway. Sarah made simple dinner. Pasta with tomato sauce. Ethan barely touched his plate. Not hungry, not much. Sarah sat beside him, saw his drawing. 3 figures. Her, Ethan, and it's Ryan. Ethan nodded. Sudden tears in his eyes. I miss him, Mommy. I know, baby. Why did we leave? I explained. Sometimes things don't work. But we were happy. Ethan looked at her with eyes too old for 4. Why leave if we were happy? The question punched her gut. Ethan Ryan read me stories, taught me games, made you smile. Sarah felt her throat close. It's complicated. Adults always say that when they don't want to say the truth. Sarah looked at her son. When had he gotten so wise? You're right. The truth is I got scared. Of what? That if we stayed and then had to leave, it'd hurt more. But it already hurts, Mommy. It hurts a lot. Ethan hugged her, crying against her neck. Sarah held him, her own revelation hitting with brutal force. She hadn't run for Ethan, she'd run for herself. Because trusting Ryan meant risking her heart, and her heart had been broken so many times. By her family, who abandoned her, her ex-boss, who betrayed her every closed door and no she'd received. Ryan was too big a risk, so she'd run before he could hurt her worse. but running had hurt Ethan and herself. "Mommy, can we call him Sarah kissed his head?" Maybe, a kind lie. She didn't have the courage to call. Ethan eventually slept on the couch, drawing still in his lap. Sarah carried him to bed, tucked the drawing in an envelope. Tomorrow she'd send it. Some way to say sorry without saying it. It was raining when she finished cleaning the kitchen, soft rain tapping windows reminding her of another night, another storm. "Knock at the door." Sarah frowned. 9 p.m. No one visited this late. Looked through the peephole. Her heart stopped. Ryan stood outside, soaked, desperate eyes. Sarah opened with shaking hands. "What are you doing here? I couldn't stay there." "Ryan, let me talk, please." Sarah stepped aside. He entered dripping on her small floor like she'd dripped in his penthouse. "Full circle. How did you find me? My mother has concerning contacts. Your mother helped." "Long story." Ryan ran a hand through wet hair. "Sarah, I'm sorry. You already apologized." "No, I didn't. I let you go. That's the opposite of apology. You couldn't do different. I could do everything different. I could defend you from Sophia. I could tell my mother to mind her business. I could choose you. Your family." "Why?" "My family will survive my disappointment." Ryan stepped toward her. "I didn't survive losing you." Sarah backed up, wall against her back. "You can't say those things." "Why not?" "Because they make me want to believe, and I can't believe again." "Why not?" "Because every time I trust someone, they hurt me." The words came broken. "My family, my boss, every person who promised to be there. I'm not them. How do I know you don't?" "That's the scary part." Ryan took her hand. "I'm scared too, Sarah. Scared I'm not enough, that my money is all I have of value, that one day you'll wake and realize you deserve more. That's ridiculous." "It is. I grew up poor, then rich. Never knew where I belonged until a woman saw me, not my bank account." Sarah felt hot tears on her cheeks. "You stayed away 6 weeks, worse than any fear. And if it doesn't work, what if it does? Ryan didn't come as your boss, didn't come to rescue you. Came as a man who fell for your strength, your smarts, the way you love your son. This is crazy. Probably. But the alternative is living safe and miserable, and I think we both deserve more." Sarah looked at him. Really looked. Saw fear in his eyes mirroring hers. Saw fragile hope. Saw imperfect man, imperfect love. And for the first time in months, let her heart speak louder than fear. "Ethan misses you. I miss him and you. If you do this, if you enter our lives for real, you can't leave. I don't plan to. Things will get hard. They already are." Sarah almost laughed through tears. "You're soaked. I know. You traveled here in the rain." Seemed poetic. Now she did laugh. True, from her stomach. "You're an idiot. You're idiot if you'll let me." Sarah placed hands on his wet chest. Felt his heart beat under her palms. "Ethan will wake any minute. That's fine." "Yes, that's fine. We'll go slow and don't mess this up." Ryan smiled, bright real. "I can do that. And you need to apologize to him, too." "I will." Sarah stood on tiptoes, kissed his cheek. "Welcome to Chicago." That was a cheek kiss or friend kiss. "Still deciding." Ryan laughed. Deep sound Sarah had missed more than she'd admit. In the back room, Ethan called, "Mommy." Sarah and Ryan looked at each other. "Ready?" he asked. "No, but let's go anyway." They entered together. Ethan opened his eyes, saw them both. His face lit up like 1,000 suns. "Ryan." The boy jumped from bed, ran to Ryan. He lifted him, hugging tight. "Hey, champ, you came." "I knew you'd come. Sorry it took so long. It's okay. You're here now." Sarah watched them. This odd family they were building, and felt something she'd forgotten. Hope, real and solid. Maybe this would work, maybe not, but for the first time she was willing to risk finding out. Ethan finally fell asleep again, clutching Ryan's hand like a lifeline. Sarah and Ryan sat on the small living room couch, prudent distance between. Rain still fell outside. "I have to tell you something." Ryan looked at his hands. "The whole truth." "Okay, until 12. I lived in the Bronx, a room for my mom and me, no hot water sometimes, no power." Sarah didn't breathe. "My mom worked 3 jobs, cleaned houses day, waited tables. Night did laundry. Dawn. Slept 4 hours, if lucky. Ryan, my father owned a hotel chain, married 3 legitimate kids. My mom was his mistress 2 years. When pregnant, he gave money to abort. Ryan's voice was flat, reciting lifetime hurts. She kept me. He vanished. I grew up knowing I had a father who chose not to know me. How did he acknowledge you then? Terminal cancer? 6 months left. Guess impending death inspires conscience. Ryan laughed without humor, married my mom, gave me his name. Died 3 weeks later. That's horrible, yes, but gave us everything. Money, house name, overnight from extreme poverty to obscene wealth. Sarah saw ancient pain in his eyes. My mom transformed learned manners, took etiquette classes, became a respectable widow. I went to private schools with kids who'd never ridden the subway, and you never belonged. Exactly. Too poor for the rich. My accent was from the streets. Didn't know which fork to use. They laughed at me, your mom. She wanted me to fit, erased every trace of our past. She was ashamed. Ryan closed his eyes, and I let her. Became what everyone expected. Cold, calculating, soulless rich guy. You're not that. No. Ryan looked at her. You let me go to keep peace with people who don't matter. You came here 6 weeks late, but came. Silence. Rain filling space between words. Why me? Sarah asked softly. Why us? Because when I saw you with Ethan that night, I saw my mom, her strength, her fierce love. Ryan turned to her, and when you started working, you saw me as a person, not a bank account, not a social climb. Just me. You're more than your money. No one made me feel that in 23 years. Sarah felt tears threatening again, blinked furiously. I fell for you, too. The words came small but firm. What your laugh when Ethan asked impossible questions. How you asked my opinion on big decisions like my voice mattered. Your clumsiness making sandwiches. My sandwiches are terrible, I know, but you made them anyway. Ryan took her hand. This time, she didn't pull away. So why so scared? Because everyone I've loved has left me. My family, my ex-boss, even Ethan's dad vanished before birth. I won't. You can't promise? No one can. Sarah squeezed his hand. And Ethan already loves you. If you stay, then go, you'll destroy him. And if I stay, can you really promise? Ryan knelt before her, holding both hands. I can't promise perfection. Can't promise I won't mess up or say stupid things or have bad days. Ryan, but I can promise presence. Every day, I'll choose to be here with you, with Ethan, building something real. And if fear doesn't go away, we fear together. Because fear means it's worth it. If losing didn't hurt, it wouldn't be real love. Sarah let go the tears she'd held. Ryan wiped them with thumbs gentle as with Ethan. I don't know how to do this. Neither do I. But we can learn together. It's going to be complicated. It already is. Sarah laughed through tears. You're still wet. Don't care. She touched his cheek. He closed eyes under her touch. If we do this, I need to be your equal, not employee, not project. What do you propose? Don't know, but can't go back to working for you. Like that. Ryan opened eyes, something shining in them. What about working with me? What does that mean? I'm launching a new corporate social responsibility division. Employment programs for single moms, daycares and hotels, job training. Sarah straightened. Are you making this up? Planned it 6 weeks since you left. Thought maybe if I built this, I'd find a way to make up for letting you go. Ryan. I need director. Someone with real experience who understands numbers and needs. He smiled. Someone who won't take excuses from stubborn CEOs. You're offering me a job again. Offering partnership. Your name on the program, your decisions, your vision. I provide money and infrastructure. You provide heart and brain. Sarah felt something expand in her chest. Partner equal in everything. Business and Ryan swallowed. And if you'll allow in life, too. That's a lot at once. We can go slow on personal, but professionally, I need you. This program needs your experience. And if we end and I have to see you every day at work, then we're professional adults building something important beyond us. Sarah studied his face, honest, vulnerable, hopeful. I need to think. Take your time. And if I accept, I want a real contract ownership percentages, no generous boss gifts. Of course. And separate spaces when we start. We're not living together right away, got it, and you'll meet my son properly. Dinners, parks, normal things, no playing instant family. Whatever you need. Sarah bit her lip. This might not work. I know, I could hurt you, counting on it. I'm not easy. Thank God, easy is boring. Sarah finally smiled. Real and full. Okay, what? Okay to all, the program partnership. Trying this with you. Ryan stayed still as if movement would break the moment. Seriously, but slow on personal as slow as you want. And if you get out of line, I kick you. Understood? Sarah laughed. Ryan stood pulling her up. It's still raining. Sarah looked out the window. Yeah, good. Why good? Because I need to do something. Cheesy. Ryan. He led her to the door, opened it. Rain blew in, wetting the small entry. What are you? He kissed her in the rain, soft, tentative, perfect. Sarah melted against him, arms around his neck. The kiss tasted of rain and promises and second chances. When they parted, both breathing heavy. That was cheesy. Sarah whispered, I know. And perfect, I know that too. She kissed him again, deeper. This time, Ryan held her tight like afraid she'd vanish. Mommy, why are you wet? They separated abruptly. Ethan at the door, teddy in hand, confused expression. Sarah had no words. We were talking. Ryan tried. Outside in the rain, kissing. You're observant. Sarah blushed. Ethan thought a moment, then grinned. That means Ryan's staying. Sarah looked at Ryan. He nodded. Yes, my love. Ryan's staying. Good. Ethan ran to them, hugging both legs. Now we're a real family. Sarah and Ryan looked over the boy's head. Family. Not by blood or paper. By choice. Yes. Ryan said, voice thick with emotion. Real family. Sarah felt something break inside her. Last protective wall falling, and on the other side no pain. Love. Imperfect, terrifying, real. Exactly what she'd always needed. Let's go inside, Sarah said, before we all get sick. Ryan can sleep on the couch. I can do that. Ryan smiled. They entered together, closing the door against the rain. Ethan ran for extra blankets. Sarah and Ryan stayed in the wet entry, hands linked. Thanks, he whispered. For what? For letting me stop that night and this. Sarah squeezed his hand. Thanks for seeing beyond the rain. And in that moment, under the dim light of a small apartment in a strange city, both knew they'd found home not in walls or addresses, in the daily choice of two imperfect people building something real. And that changed everything. 6 months after the rainy reunion in Chicago, Sarah stood before the Novak Hotel Group's board with confidence she'd forgotten she had. The Solis Novak initiative has employed 200 single mothers in the last 6 months. She projected graphs on the screen, solid numbers, real results. We've implemented corporate daycares in 15 hotels. Employee retention rate is 95% compared to the industry's 60%. An investor raised a hand. How does this impact profits? Sarah smiled. She'd anticipated that. Staff turnover cost us $3 million yearly. The program costs $1.2 million. We're saving $1.8 million while helping families. Excellent work, Director Solis. Sarah glanced to the back. Ryan leaned against the wall. Proud smile on his face. No longer her boss, her partner in business and life. The presentation ended with applause. Sarah packed her documents with steady hands. Ryan approached as the room emptied. Impressive. Your numbers, too. Your vision. I just provided money infrastructure contacts 3 a.m. calls when panicking. Those were the best parts. Sarah rolled her eyes but smiled. Picking up Ethan. Already did. He's with my mom getting ice cream. Your mom asked him to call her grandma. He agreed. She cried. Patricia crying. Never thought I'd see that. Turns out she has a heart. Who knew they left the building into bright May sun? 6 months since Chicago. 4 months living together, at first separate rooms, then sharing by accident every night. 2 months since Sarah stopped introducing him as my partner and started saying my boyfriend. 1 week since Ethan asked when Ryan would officially be his dad. They still had no answer for that, but time. Park, Ryan asked. Ethan says I need kite practice. You're terrible with kites, hence the practice. Patricia waited at the park with Ethan, who had ice cream on his face and ear-to-ear grin. Mommy, Ryan. He ran, crashing into Ryan's legs hard enough to nearly topple him. "Hey, champ, how was the ice cream?" "Yummy." Grandma Patricia let me get 2 scoops. Patricia approached more relaxed than Sarah had seen her. "He's my grandson. I can spoil him." "Technically, not. Technically, my heart says yes. That's enough." Sarah felt warmth in her chest. Family didn't always come with shared blood. "Thanks for watching him. Pleasure, not favor." Patricia kissed Ethan's cheek. "See you Sunday for dinner." She left with her never-lost elegance, but gained softness. "Grandma Patricia is fun," Ethan declared. "Never thought I'd hear that," Ryan muttered. Sarah elbowed him. Ethan was already running to open grass, kite in hand. "Come on, let's fly the kite." Ryan sighed dramatically. "I'll make a fool of myself." "I know. That's why I brought my phone to record. You're cruel. Love you anyway." The words came natural now, no longer scared. Ryan kissed her quick, smile against her lips. "Love you too, even when you document my failures." They ran after Ethan. The boy had the kite untangled, explaining with 5-year-old seriousness he'd just turned how Ryan held the string wrong. "No, Ryan, like this, see." Ryan tried to follow. Kite went up 10 feet, crashed. Again, second try. Kite spun in a circle, fell in a tree. Ethan sighed with teacher patience for slow student. "You need more practice." "Clearly." Third try. This time, Sarah helped. Hands over Ryan's guiding. Kite rose. 15 feet to 60. "We did it." Ethan jumped. "Look how high." Ryan passed the string to Ethan, letting the boy control. Sarah pulled her phone, capturing this perfect, imperfect moment. Ryan stood behind her, arms around waist, chin on shoulder. "Thanks," his voice soft. "For what?" "For letting me stop that night." Sarah leaned into him, watching Ethan run with the kite dancing in the sky. "Thanks for seeing beyond the rain." "Mommy, Ryan, look, the kite's super high." The kite climbed red bright against perfect blue. Sarah thought of that night 6 months back, desperate wet, begging help from a stranger. She'd asked for one night's shelter, found forever home not in walls or addresses or contracts, in daily choice of 2 imperfect people to build something real. In a boy calling Ryan to a man not his blood father, but heart dad. In a mother-in-law, once enemy, now chosen grandma. In love that came not as dramatic lightning but steady rain, soaking them slowly until they couldn't imagine being dry. "What are you thinking?" Ryan asked. That night I thought I'd lost everything. And now I know I had to lose it all to find what's right. Ethan ran to them breathless and happy. "Did you see the kite flew super high like to the clouds?" "We saw, my love." Sarah hugged him. "Can we come every week?" "Every week," Ryan promised. "And Ryan can live with us forever." Sarah and Ryan exchanged looks. The question they danced around. "You want me to live with us forever?" Ryan asked seriously. "Yes, and be my real dad." "I'm already your heart dad, but I want the paper too, so no one asks." Ryan knelt before Ethan. "You're asking me to marry your mom. Can I do that? I think you just did." Ethan looked at Sarah, eyes hopeful. "Mommy," Sarah felt tears burn. "Let them fall. Maybe someday, baby. But we're good like this now, right, I guess," Ethan thought. "But someday I want a big party." "Someday you'll have your party," Ryan promised. "With cake, huge cake." "Okay then." Ethan ran back to the kite, satisfied with the promise. Sarah and Ryan watched him. "We just got proposed to by a 5-year-old. Sarah said, "I think so," and rejected, postponed. Difference. "Ryan, I know you're not ready, and that's fine. I have a lifetime to wait, and if I'm never ready, then we live happy without paper. Paper doesn't make family." Sarah kissed him deep and grateful. "I love you too, now and always." Sun starting to set, kite still flying, red against sunset orange. The city stretched out behind them, millions of stories unfolding at once. This was just one, small in the grand scheme. But for Sarah, for Ryan, for Ethan, it was everything. Their story, their family, their love, built not on rescue or convenience or need, but on choice every day. Choosing to be, to stay, to love. And that changed everything. What did you think of Sarah and Ryan's story? Leave your comments below. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate this story? Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so you don't miss any of our stories.